Welcome to the Conference of Churches for Middle East Peace, our annual Advocacy Conference. We're delighted that you're here. We're looking forward to 2 very interesting days of lectures here and information, and then a congressional prayer breakfast tomorrow, and a chance for you all to advocate with your elected representatives here in Washington. I want to thank many of the people who have worked so hard to make this conference possible, particularly Amanda Rios, my deputy at Churches of Middle East Peace. The Reverend Doris Worrell, who's our field director and who has done much of the grassroots work to prepare for this conference, as well as Keith Schwarzendruber, our operations manager, who makes sure that everything gets done. It's a very essential role. In the second epistle to the Corinthians, chapter 5, Paul writes, "All things are from God, who gave to us the ministry of reconciliation. We are therefore ambassadors on behalf of Christ." We are gathering here this morning at an extraordinary time. I think it's important and interesting in the long struggle to bring peace with justice and security through reconciliation to Israel and Palestine, the land where we believe God was incarnate and lived among us. As Paul faced challenges from different factions within the community in Corinth to what he preached, so there are different faiths, different political perspectives here at home and in the Middle East on whether agreement for peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians is possible, or even whether it is desirable. However, we now have an administration here in Washington that said last January it is determined to bring about an agreement for peace in the next 2 years. Only last week, the president said he believes significant progress can be made before the end of this year. Since our last advocacy conference a year ago, the administration has successfully encouraged the conservative coalition government of Israel to agree in principle with qualifications to the creation of a Palestinian state. It has successfully encouraged the Prime Minister last fall to agree to a 10-month freeze de jure of new construction of Israeli settlements in the West Bank. It successfully turned the visit of Vice President Biden to Jerusalem in March into an opportunity to establish de facto freeze on authorization of new construction in East Jerusalem. And it has established ongoing proximity talks between Israelis and the Palestinians under the mediation of Senator George Mitchell. Many remain skeptical that the time is ripe in any circumstances for an agreement. Given the history of this conflict, the possibility of an agreement for peace just seems too remote to many people. We have to build bridges across those walls. Others believe that the status quo does not hurt badly enough to motivate change. It is said that many are too comfortable with the status quo. If the building freeze is not extended, I'm afraid there's very little chance that there's further progress is possible. On the other hand, if the freeze is extended, I think the public perceptions will change. The perceptions of ripeness will change. The public, both in Israel and the United States, may come to believe that an agreement is truly possible. Suddenly, the situation will look more ripe for agreement. If and when that comes, even greater opposition to peace from various quarters can be expected. So there is an important role for everyone here and for everyone you know in this process. Political space must be created that will enable the administration to go forward with the process. As we found out last year, when the administration pulled back from its insistence on comprehensive freeze on new construction, there are domestic political limits on how far and how fast the administration can move in any given set of circumstances in promoting an agreement for peace. We will all need to work as individuals, in groups, in our church communities, in our parishes, in our meetings, synods, dioceses, and all the other words we use to describe our church organizations, to tell elected representatives that we want them to support the effort to bring about an end to this conflict and agreement for a just, lasting, and comprehensive peace in the Holy Land. It is not impossible. It will take hard work, but I am confident that this conference will help to deepen our understanding in this very complex problem. We hope you will give us the tools to talk to the members of Congress, your senators, to their staffs, and to demonstrate to them that there is strong support among their constituents for a U.S. effort to bring peace in the Holy Land. Thank you again, and I now turn over our opening plenary session to the moderator, my good friend, Jim Fine.